Guys, welcome to episode 4 reaction brought to you by Insensitive Culture. Wish I had my drops, but you know me. My name's Watt.
What's up,
Got my
Watt?
boy Laser Ramon. And Johnny Quest is on the other end adminning. You'll be able to hear him, but we won't be able to
Johnny
see him.
Quest. I did it. Drum roll.
Yeah, little drum roll. It was episode 4 was such a great episode, and I still get pissed off by the people that are giving it backlash, saying that the series is boring and blah blah blah. So
I don't get
uh,
that.
I don't get it either. But people are gonna hate no matter what. It's never gonna please everybody. But to get back onto the topic of episode 4, this one started right where we left off. A little variant on that though. It's we started off with Sylvie as a kid, and when they initially grabbed her from her timeline, they never told her why she was, what her violation was or anything. They just kind of picked her ass up and took her to the TVA, where she luckily was able to get away. So yeah, she dipped and's been on the run her entire life. It was, as soon as they started with that, I was thinking, oh, we're gonna get a full episode of what she
Backstory.
experienced. Yeah, just like that backstory. And but no, man, we got a whole lot more than that. We got a little bit of backstory. We got a whole lot of current events, things that I didn't even think were going to happen until maybe second to last episode or even the last episode. But
Right.
it just picked up and took off running. So, which makes me even more, like, so I can't, like, why does it have to be a full week away? Like, I cannot wait until this next episode. But Dave, share your thoughts, man.
I mean, I was way more stoked about it than IGN was. That's for sure. We saw that IGN was overly critical of this episode, and we all were just shocked because we thought it was so
Again, what the hell
fucking
are they
good.
thinking?
Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. It really, that bummed me out. So I had to call them out. So if we get the chance, we just talk shit about IGN throughout this episode because that was a
Word.
garbage ass review. But no, I mean the episode, dude, like you said, it was started off with just that little bit of backstory, enough to understand sort of, why she's just as badass as she is. Like she had to be to survive. She said, she's lived. Well, how to remember what was she? How did she word it? Like 1,000 apocalypses. She's lived in 1,000 end of. I don't remember what she said, but it was a badass line that I just butchered.
Yeah, well, she
Do you remember
was,
it?
as we know, she was living her life throughout all of them. So yeah, it was something
Yeah.
around that vein where I've lived during 1,000 apocalypse. But and to live her life in that way, coming and the crazy thing is when she finally made it to when she had made it to the TV. I don't know if you remember that callback. Like, she was surprised
Mm-hmm.
at that certain things weren't working. So she'd never been there other
Well,
than
like her
that
magic,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. She was surprised. So then she just started going ham and beating everybody up on that. On, I think that was episode 3. Um, but no, just to get back to this one, with all of that going down, we realize, and you know me, I need to bring up IGN because I'm not IGN. Screw them,
Yeah.
IMDb,
Good call.
because because I'm horrible with names. But we find out the what's the judge's name?
Ravona.
Renslayer.
Yeah, we find out Ravona Redslayer was an agent. She was, part of the TVA, and she wasn't always at the top, like we probably would have assumed. Which tells me, like, even with everything, and I don't really want to jump ahead, but after what went on with the timekeepers, knowing that they aren't what everyone thought they were or what they've been perceived to be. We know there's still someone there that's pulling the strings, because she's been moved up, and she obviously knows the truth. She has to know the truth. So I can't wait to see how that whole thing unfolds. But also, when she asked her what was my, what was my
Nexus event,
she smirked and said, I can't remember, but she knows.
she
And
remembers.
the biggest
fucking
thing,
knows.
the biggest thing that people are saying right now is right, because we don't know. Obviously, that it's very big that Kang the Conqueror. They're thinking that that's who this is leading up to be. But it could very well be Kang the Conqueror, because things that I guess Ravonna, when she in the comics, Ravonna, when she first appeared, she first appeared with Kang. Kang the Conqueror, devoted his love to her, and she shut him down. So there is a backstory with Ravonna and Kang the Conqueror, but we don't know if that's going to, if that's the big bad there. There could also be another Loki variant, like a King Loki that is, that is not necessarily pulling the strings, but we may not even find out who's pulling the strings during this, because now when they pruned Loki, he's in this next, he's in this next area, which we don't know what that area is either, but that could be, taken over by some King Loki, and that's who we're going to see the big bad end up being.
I think that's
maybe
where we'll see the remember in the early teasers or previews trailer, they showed that kind of like President Loki.
Yeah.
Wonder if he's running the the Loki underground of all the pruned Lokis from all the different variants.
They like to call it Loki Limbo.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Also, I want to know where that is, because we've seen in the background, we've seen the the Avengers Tower. You can see all demolished in the back, and it's ravished. I don't know if this is an area where everyone is. Yeah, there's I was looking into it a little bit, and I guess it was possibly the tower after Endgame. So they could have thrown him into. You see it right there on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I didn't know. I was just looking at those other two in the background. I was focusing on those. I didn't really pay attention to that.
Yep. So that's is wild. Avengers Tower on the right hand side there, and we don't know if, because this is after the snap, or which. Obviously, whatever happened here isn't affecting the main timeline, and so we don't know if people are just getting thrown here, if this is like just a created space where everyone that gets pruned ends up getting thrown to. We don't know what the what's going on with this.
Just for Loki's,
yeah, or if it's just for Loki's. I highly doubt it's just for Loki's.
Gator Loki.
Yeah, Gator Loki. I can't wait to see what the hell that's about. It's probably possibly a pet though. But no, and there's so I don't know if that's just where all the pruned people just randomly go, because if so, that would make sense for where Mobius is. Yep, we'll get to see him again and get to see what comes from that. But all of those Lokis being there, and us knowing that there's a big bad, either way that form this TVA, really what it's showing me is that for whatever reason they have something against Lokis, and they feel like the Lokis are the cause of which is again leading towards Kang the Conqueror, where it's the Lokis that create all of these variances that keep them from his timeline, the timeline where he that he has to keep intact to where he is actually who he reigns supreme, like he's able to take over. If he knows what that timeline is and he doesn't want any variance of it, he could form something like this and keep everyone in line. And of course, who's going to be the biggest the biggest obstacle in his way constantly? That's going to be Loki, and every version of Loki that doesn't end up dying. So this is another big theory that's out there. It's not mine. I'm not even going to pretend that this was my theory. But that's one of the theories that's out there that keeps leading towards Kang the Conqueror. You guys think we're going to see Kang this season?
I don't know. I'm trying not to hold out too much hope. We got Doctor Strange pulled from us in WandaVision, right? And we got so hype over that. And, Jonathan Majors is apparently doing a good job at ducking the question and kind of saying that, like, no, he's not really involved in Loki, but it would make the most sense. It seems like it would be appropriate for what we know about his history with Ravonna Renslayer, with just the whole order of timekeeping and kind of world conquering. I think I saw something about, like, his kingdom looks eerily similar to that kind of dome-ish bubble that supposedly the TVA is. And so there's a lot of different things that we see, like he's coming into, we know Kang the Conqueror is part of Quantumania, and I think we've spoken before about how maybe the TVA is just taking advantage of the quantum realm. So it makes sense, but if you're asking, do I think it's gonna happen? I don't know, man. It would, if it happens, I think it'll be like the last 5 minutes, last two, like basically the last scene at the as it ends, or a mid-credit / post-credit scene. I don't know that they would do that to us. I feel like that would be a little. That wouldn't bring, if Kang the Conqueror is the big bad running the TVA, then that means we wouldn't get an answer until after the credits. That would be kind of weird. But I think like right before the credits, we might get like a flash of like him turning around and we see his face and we're like, holy shit, it was Kang all the time. I knew it.
But how stoked would we have been if there was Doctor Strange in a mid-credit scene at the end of WandaVision, though?
Oh, that would have been great.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It still would fuck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we know what I hate saying this in reference to Avengers, but we know what the end game is now with, well, we don't know what the full end game is, but we know where it's all leading up to, right? Michael Clark, you're correct. Multiverse of Madness. This is diving towards the multiverse of madness, but also we know that the first official, the first movie that we will officially see Kang the Conqueror is Ant-Man, and that's why it's, pulling for him to finally show up here. But no, Quantumania is where he's officially supposed to be coming out, and it would just be cool to see little sprinklings of the storyline that leads up to whatever goes on in Quantumania, which, in my opinion, would make sense if it doesn't necessarily have to be anything big, but like with Thanos, we saw a lot of end credit scenes, just little. It wasn't even. It wasn't even what's his name playing him. It was just like a random looking Thanos.
It was like
early
a CGI.
on. Yeah, it was all fully CGI, and
that's true.
So I would love to see like little bits and pieces here and there, just kind of leading up to whatever's going to be happening. But and it could very well possibly all start with this. But yes, we know that the multiverse of madness, like everything, is bringing the multiverse of madness into light. We're now a tiny bit clearer as to what possibility could be going on. What could possibly be going on during that story now with Wanda, knowing Wanda's story, and now seeing what's going on with Loki and the TVA, and knowing that the TVA, it's just so dope. I like how this is all unraveling, and I cannot wait for all of this to come through. Now, did you guys notice? I saw something that pointed it out, but did you notice when they made it into the room with the timer, they were very reminiscent of Bill and Ted, the three, when they go into the future and they have the three people with the guitars. It was very reminiscent of that.
Right.
it was so that could be, because
they did look, yeah.
I got
yeah, it was kind of
Chuck E. Cheese vibes from those like mechanical timekeepers. Like it just reminded me of like that Elvis dude that would rock out at Chuck E. Cheese.
So like after you realized what they were.
Yeah. But even like when they were up there, they seemed like, I don't know, like somebody just put a quarter in when those doors opened and like they started to go into their thing, and they sound like the one middle dude sounded okay, but the other dude sounded really weird and just like robots, dude. Like, but then again, I mean, I don't know what the fuck those guys are supposed to sound like, so maybe that's them. Like, I
did have like an initial heartbreak disappointment when they walked in there, and it's like, and then they showed the center guy, and I was like, that's not Kang. Fuck.
Right.
Damn it, get my hopes up again for nothing. But then we realized they're just animatronics.
Yeah, I got called out for all of my theories being wrong. But that's
couldn't be
that's
as
what
bad as the Ignorant Games Network.
Yeah,
and their take.
That's putting it nicely, JG. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Oh man,
hey,
it was another movie that just came out. They gave before we go to that, just to bash on IGN again.
Oh,
they just gave a horrible. Right? Yep, they gave it a 3. Yeah. Tomorrow War.
That seems more likely, though. Honestly,
I keep hearing that it's actually really good, but
really?
we'll see. I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, I'm gonna watch.
I'll watch it
sure.
tonight. Hopefully.
I wanted to go back to Lamentus right before Loki got saved. Obviously, that caused that wild fucking almost 90-degree Nexus event, that like split off of the timeline. And that was how, I'm guessing, they found him there. Was that one of them? I'm guessing possibly Loki, because he wanted to tell Sylvie something at the end about when they were on Lamentus. Was that him knowing that like he could, because, she was so, everything she does basically creates a Nexus event. Like if he, I don't know, like was falling for her, like if he knew that would cause a rift and then they would show up and like that was their out, like was he like planning that, or were they like on purpose? Or were they fully just planning?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think it was a fully genuine moment where they really thought the world was going to end. And as soon as they looked at each other, they were like, fuck, we are perfect for each other because we love ourselves so much. We're exactly who we want to be with. And then they touched. And that's what sparked the Nexus event that sent the timeline going up, is when they touched hands.
It was just accidental.
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, I think so. Yeah, I think it was accidental. I think the look in their eyes both felt like, fuck, we screwed this, and we're meeting our doom as we should as Lokis because we never survived.
So what do you guys think Loki was going to say to her? What was he going to tell her about Lamentus? Before he got pruned, he was in the middle of like slowly saying, so he was like, that's there on Lamentus. Then we never get to hear what the fuck he said because.
Oh, I think he was going to say pruned. That,
he just fell for her.
Like we should be together. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was just trying to, express to her that, you know, that was real. You know, whatever they felt there was real. I think he was just trying to get that across there. But as far as the even better question is, this is in the middle of an apocalypse. So why would that spark such a huge Nexus event, even though they're in an apocalypse? Like, it's supposed to be that they could live in the shadows there, because it wouldn't spark anything. Like, nothing that they do would create that sort of event. Now, I like the theory that's going on for that. It's because, again, Loki is the biggest threat to the timeline, that whoever's actually you know, creating all of this to keep their specific timeline intact. Loki is the biggest threat to it. So two Lokis getting together and actually like creating, you know, like falling in love and possibly creating like this ultimate Loki or something would be the biggest possible Nexus event. So when they spark interest in each other and it's genuine on both sides, like, that is the biggest or the, you know, the scariest thing that could happen for this person's you know, main timeline. Because in all honesty, I'm starting to dig into that one a little bit more, where it's not necessarily that there has to be one main timeline and there has to be an order. No, it seems like someone really like knows that this is the only timeline that would garner a specific outcome in their life. So they create this thing that makes sure that happens. So and that right there would just be you know, my thought on
that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah. But we'll see, because I'm always wrong. Oh man, but yeah, no, so then we got all of that. Some people are thinking that in that credit scene we got the old school comic book Loki. We got the version of Loki, the black guy holding what seems to be a version of Thor's hammer. I obviously Kid Loki. They're saying that Loki played with animals in the comics a lot and like would change the way he looks, so he could just be trapped like that. It could be a certain version of Loki that got trapped as an alligator.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, but who do you think was the one who actually spoke?
Is
to
it
him?
a gator or a croc?
Loki? Who the fuck knows?
The real question.
Check their medulla oblongata.
There you
go. So I can't wait. Is there anything that we're missing? I feel like we're missing.
Yeah. What about the B-15 story arc in general?
Yeah.
Just like I figure most of us strongly disliked her at the beginning of the series. You know, she was just doing the TVA's bidding, buying everything, as, you know, why wouldn't she? That's her job. And then, you know, she realized that there was some wild shit going on, fucking broke into Sylvie's shit, was like, hey, you're gonna go read my mind. She couldn't enchant her at the TVA. So they went to the Rocksmart parking lot there, which was badass scene in general. Just the rain. It was a very emotional scene where she showed her, you know, her past for a little bit and sort of tried to explain to her what was going on. And then basically B-15 comes in and saves the day, like in the timekeeper areas, frees Loki and Syl. Like, that was such a, and, you know, there's still 2 more episodes. Like, I don't know what happened to her. Did we see anything? Like, I know she was fighting. She looked like she went down pretty quick.
That's what I was gonna ask. I don't remember. Like, she was fighting Ravonna, right?
Yep.
And they didn't really show what happened. I don't think. I would have to go back and watch.
No, I mean, I just watched it. I was trying to look for what happened to her, and it seemed like after that initial like tussle with Ravonna, Sylvie went and started fighting Ravonna. They did like sort of that badass little duel that they had, and everyone went
So
Jason
we
Bourne.
didn't see her get pruned or anything. I don't know.
Not that I could recall. There was nothing explicitly saying, "Oh, she was dead" or pruned or what have
No,
you.
she.
So
I mean, I think what that wasn't as important. Like she served her purpose, so they just didn't have to show her being pruned. But I think it's pretty safe to say that she was more than likely pruned. We won't know, obviously, until next time. But just them all realizing that they were variants and that they had lives prior to this. And yeah, and how can we not touch on even with her, she realized her life. She was when she grabbed Sylvie just to take her and say, hey, that was real. Like, can you show me, and like tell me the truth? And she told her, you were variants. You had a life prior to this and you were snagged and your memories were wiped. And I just, unlocked it a little bit, and she asked her to show it. She was like, I seemed happy. Those were some really, really like that
I
right there.
wanted to see.
Like, none of this is real. I mean, I'm okay with not seeing, because I feel like, I guess it must have not have been that important to the story to see this character's background. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to see a little bit deeper into all of these characters. And what she saw was just a regular, none of actually matters. Like they've been lying to us the whole time, and that caused for her to be like, yo, I'm on your side, we need to take this down. Same with Mobius, which we lost him. Who else was like sad as hell to see him get pruned? Especially the way he said it.
Screamed out. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Right. Also, nobody even realized that we won't. Apparently, we're not going to get a wow from Owen Wilson, but we almost did. Right, when she said no, she died, and he said how.
How?
So
I didn't notice
probably
that.
So we got a little bit of that. But even just like his dialogue, him having to look into it, the dialogue he had with Loki, where he wasn't believing him, and Loki seemed genuine. Like he really seemed genuine, telling him, like, yo, I actually like you, man. Like you need, like, they're lying to you. They're the enemy. We need to get, we need to band together. And even with all of that, he somewhat believed him, looked into it, and then he got pruned for it, man. And he gave us the whole thing.
He
like
had posted the that meme about like when he was given that line at the end, he was like, maybe I'll have a jet ski.
Yeah,
and all of us are like tearing up.
Right.
Yeah,
that was the rough part, man. Is that whole little speech he gave first? He's like, maybe I had a good life, and maybe I had a jet ski, and then all of a sudden just gets pruned. But now knowing it was even rough because we didn't know what was going on, and we didn't get that scene prior to
right.
We thought pruning was just instant death, basically.
Yeah. But now we don't know, man. I'm really hoping for the theory that he was pruned, and if Mobius is a clone like we thought all along, which is why there was like multiple rings next to her desk, and where he was sitting and stuff. So there's a small chance that there are multiple Mobiuses, and we get to see a world where every Owen Wilson character in all of his movies come together for one. That would be amazing if they did that. I don't think that they will, but that would be great.
Excellent. That'd be a little dip from the story, but
hey man, we could dream, bro. We could dream. How great would that be, though? To see the Starsky and Hutch, Owen Wilson there, and every single one. The Wedding Crashers.
He's got his own Owen Wilson playpen.
Yeah, that would be great. No, but I'm very hopeful that we're going to see him again. Especially if where they're sending him back to is more contained than just putting them back to where he lived his life before, which I don't think that's going to happen. But if they're all in this dystopian New York after everything goes down, then we're hopeful that we'll definitely get him back. Which to me, I want to say I hope that Mobius and just Owen Wilson has a longer run, better than Agent Coulson's run.
Right. No, yeah. When Owen Wilson was pruned, I was kind of like, oh man, like freaking, what the hell? Like, how the hell are they gonna like? This is great. Owen Wilson
that would be great.
at the museum and Ant-Man crossover. That would be awesome. Good
that would be great.
He was tiny. He was fucking tiny in that movie.
Yeah,
that's right.
When it happened to him, I was like, damn, like we still got 2 more episodes and we already lost Owen Wilson. But then when they pruned Loki, I was like, whoa. And I immediately was like, wait a minute, where do you go when you get pruned? There's no way they got rid of Loki.
Right.
Unless we're going to get another version of Loki, and that's going to be our hero. But I immediately was like, we have to go somewhere else when you get pruned. Pruning doesn't mean death anymore. And then 80 seconds later, we see that it doesn't.
I thought we asked that question too. Like, does pruning actually mean death? I think when it's if you notice when they prune like an area or a landscape, it's that purple color. But when they do it with the stick, it's that orange color. So and both of them had that same color. So I don't know. But yeah,
the timeline.
Yeah. I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
Which I was like super sad.
We will.
In the opening scene where they like take Sylvie and then they reset her timeline, I was like, damn, they destroyed like an entire civilization of Asgard. Like that, no wonder she's so pissed at you guys. Not only did you take her away, you like killed everything she knew.
Yeah. And is that what happens? Like everything in that timeline just dies? Like everything?
I think so.
I didn't think it sucked in like all like black holed Asgard. I didn't think it was like that. I just thought it was like sort of like there's like a perimeter that affects anything that she touched. But then again, like I don't know. Maybe that's what they would have to do, like implode all of Asgard in that timeline. I don't know. I feel like that would be a bit much.
Like they touched on it
for other people. I don't remember that.
I feel like Sylvie might have said something about it. Not in episode 4, but episode 3.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that if you've diverted this existence from the official timeline, then that instance of the world just needs to go away.
Damn.
And that's when the line goes back down to 0. But I don't know. They never show us more than like
they always bounce
of resetting, and then
because the cameraman would get reset also.
There you go.
They can't
cameraman. The screen would disintegrate, and so would my TV.
And then we'd be gone. We'd be fucked. So for safety reasons, we can't really see what happens when the timeline gets reset by those bombs.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I know this one is very tough because personally I have no clue where the story is going from here. But do you guys have any thoughts or predictions on what we might see next this next episode?
Hopefully some Mobius.
I'm hoping for that too.
Yeah, definitely. I hope to see Mobius. I think we're going to see Lady Loki at the TVA with Ravonna, probably in prison again. doing some sort of torture or some sort of answer extraction methods. I don't know. I don't know that I get the gist or the feeling that I don't know, it's kind of weird with that last credit scene because they make it seem like, okay, well, this is where all the Lokis have been, and so they're hunting all the Lokis, or was it something specific with her? Like, but then again, I think I made a mention of this last week, or maybe it was in our group text, where in last week's episode, he spoke to Ravonna, and she was like, "Just work your Loki," and he was like, "It's all I ever hear from you. Work the Lokis, work the Lokis." And I was like, "Wait a minute, Lokis? How many Lokis are you personally, Morbius and Morbius, connected? Destroying and pruning away?" So, yeah, I don't know what we're gonna see next episode. I'm super hyped
I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I like that. I like that we don't know.
I like that we don't know either, and just because Michael Clark there put that thing up there, it made me think of why Lady Loki, why they pruned her, or why they tried to grab her so young, and what she did,
or what she was gonna do.
Yeah, what she was gonna do, and she is the only female version of Loki. So if the person is targeting Lokis because in the end Loki is what keeps their timeline, or whatever they want to accomplish within the timeline, if Loki is the biggest threat to it, a female Loki would mean exactly what we're seeing, right? That created that ultimate Nexus event where she could possibly meet a male Loki and create some sort of child that's going to be like.
Is that the kid Loki?
I don't think so, because they've already pruned him, I'm assuming, and but what I'm saying is like, maybe it's not Kid Loki, but if those two have a child together, that would be like an ultimate Loki, I guess, because it's the creation of a Loki by two separate Lokis from two different timelines. I don't know. I just feel like maybe it's someone who knows what could happen that was ultimately trying to prevent that from happening. At least that's what I'm thinking at this moment.
Which leads more to King the Conqueror theories.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But dude,
since he's from the future.
Yeah, exactly. And they're also saying that it could possibly be Doctor Doom, but I think it's way too early to bring him in.
Yeah.
And there was a comic book reference to something there, but I think it's too early to bring in Doctor Doom. He's obviously going to be like a big bad at some point, maybe even the biggest of this next story arc that we're going to be leading to. But as of right now, we're just, let's remember that Loki was the big bad at one point. So
right,
he wasn't the biggest bad,
that's
but
true.
he was definitely a villain. So
yeah, no,
but,
it's I forgot what I was going to say. Never
mind. No, but if we have nothing else to add to it, we can just dead it here. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Wednesday. I'm gonna have to wake up super early and just watch it.
Still not used to these Wednesday releases. I think it's always like Wednesday mornings or like the Wednesday afternoons when you send the message that's like Loki. I'm like, oh fuck, that's right, it came out today.
Right.
Yeah. You could wait till 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Watch it then. No, nobody's doing that.
Before we go, guys, but there was a quick line that Owen Wilson said about bringing in Kree and vampires. Someone said he opened up the door for Blade. so that we can get Blade somewhere down the
Ooh.
road.
They
I
did,
thought that
and
was dope.
yeah, they mentioned vampires making it a thing, but then I saw something else that vampires were also mentioned in Ragnarok.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, where
Oh,
where
were
the who's the big rock guy that's voiced by Taika?
Oh, I don't remember his name. I don't know his
Well,
name.
apparently at one point when they're picking weapons, he goes, "Oh, it's a nice sharp stick," which is perfect for perfect for something, or unless you have three vampires on it at once.
Nice.
But it was more of a comical way of saying it, whereas
Right.
Morbius is more matter of fact. Like, yeah, we brought them over. Korg, yeah, everybody's screaming Korg, Korg. um, um, yep.
Korg.
So he actually mentioned it first, but saying that we actually brought vampires to the TVA is could be, obviously they're setting up Blade because we know that's coming, and we also know that that the extended Spider-Man world is is also might be a part of the MCU, and we have that Jared Leto movie coming out too.
Right. You know what was interesting? This is what I was going to say earlier. I found it kind of interesting. I don't know how legit or specific it is, but I was on the Disney Plus app yesterday, and my niece was showing me. She was telling me how she's missed a whole bunch of movies from the MCU, so she's going back and she's watching it in um, timeline order, which I'm not sure exactly. I know what that means, like, because at first she said
I've seen it out
chronological
there.
order, and so I understood what that meant. But then she went back and said timeline order, which I guess maybe they changed it to fit the sacred timeline or whatnot. But what
Right.
I found interesting on it, so basically it's Captain America first, and then Captain Marvel, and then as the order of events happened in quote unquote real time. What I
Right.
found interesting was that once you get to Endgame, you would think that it would be WandaVision and then Falcon Winter Soldier and then Loki, but it's
Mm-mm.
not. It's actually Loki first,
Yeah.
which I thought was weird. And then it was WandaVision and then Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I don't know if that's specific for some. I don't know if they just put it like that or if that's really the timeline, which also doesn't make sense to me because if at first I was like, well, yeah, because Loki took the
Loki
Tesseract
would,
earlier.
yeah, but if you look at I guess if they're looking at it with the
But that
events
would
that's
really put
happening
him
in
like
Endgame,
they should have Loki around like the first
that would be
Avengers
after
movie
Avengers.
then.
Yeah, it would be after the first
Yeah,
Avengers.
so
Maybe
that
because
was
they're
kind
in
of
the TVA. Maybe because it takes place in the TVA where time works differently. They just
right.
put it right before because you can't really place it.
I don't know. To me, all of that stuff messes with my brain a little bit.
Right.
So it's
You
like
got to be Kevin Feige to figure that out.
well, not even that is like, even if I'm watching it out of the the release order, in my mind, like we'll still watch the end credits even though we know exactly what's gonna happen, but it sets all that up for the next movie. So so I don't know, to me I just always like watching it in the order that they were released rather than
Yeah,
the timeline order.
fully
Like
agree. I
yeah,
I didn't
same thing with
get
like
it. I
Star
had told
Wars
her
and
that
how
too. I
they
was like, you don't even get some of the callbacks that they
Right.
mention, and it's a
Those are
callback to a
special.
previous movie, even though it's in the past. It feels cool because you put the time in to watch a different movie.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah,
Agreed.
I can't do it. But anyway, no guys, we could definitely end it here. So next week we'll be here around the same time. I think 2:00
Word.
was a pretty good time. And
Appreciate
we'll
all the
do it on
comments.
Saturday. For
Oh
sure.
yeah.
I love the interaction
Engagement.
today. Word. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. This will be available for audio for those who miss it. So look out for that. And if you guys are not aware we actually have a pop culture podcast called Insensitive Culture that you could find weekly. We drop every Thursday on both audio, so any one of the podcast platforms that you that you would prefer, or we drop full episodes here on YouTube. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Do you guys have anything else to add?
No, that's it.
No,
We're
we're
good.
We're all tapped out. Cool.
Yes,
We
sir.
appreciate you all. Thank you guys. Love you guys. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.